It's the True Faith Charlotte Robson show. Can I just say that I didn't pick this name? This isn't my doing. It's Friday. Election results are out. I'm on the board. I'm very excited about that. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm a little bit all over the place because I feel a little bit overwhelmed, but I am joined by board chair Alex Hurst this evening. We are going to be chatting through the trust election, the trust's work this week. They've done some incredible work this week, which I'm sure that you will have seen, and then other bits and bobs news that's come out. It's been quite a newsy week, I think, is the official term. When there's been a lot of news, it's been quite newsy. So, Alex, thank you for joining me this evening. This is giving up your Friday.
Pleasure to be here on the Charlotte Robson show, named by Charlotte Robson.
No, I didn't name this show. That's not fair.
Charlotte threatens to withdraw her trust candidacy to get her own True Faith show.
That's not true. You're spreading malicious lies.
You learned nothing from politics in the past 2 weeks.
Oh my God. It's been a whirlwind. I haven't taken it on yet. Luke Nicholson, no one's behind me. I know because I've got the light on this time and no one's there. That's Luke in the comments. So I think we'll start with the news that's on everybody's / just my mind. The election, and a massive congratulations has to go to everybody who put themselves forward. I think it's an astonishing, I include myself because why not? Oops, I've lost my headphone. I think it's just amazing to put yourself forward and do all of that and put yourself out there and campaign and all on behalf of this lovely mad fan base. So we are, I just think it's incredible. And congratulations to everybody. Everybody put forward incredible statements. Everybody did a great job. And I'm obviously delighted with the result for myself. But for the other 4 who were also elected on, I'm very pleased to be working alongside such great people. So thank you to everybody who voted and everyone who voted for me. And Alex, you weren't chairing the election or anything like that. Chris Waff did that for the board, on behalf of the board as an independent chair. How's it been for you watching it all unfold?
It's been magical, Charlotte. Because 2 of my close friends, in terms of you and Mark Corby, were elected. Also, obviously, I was delighted Linda and Thomas could continue the good work I've seen them do firsthand. Adam Beckett has done much for True Faith. He's written some fantastic articles for the fans. The website. He's appeared on Patreon podcasts on this very show before it was called the Charlotte Robson Show. In fact, so I'm really pleased for him because he's a great Newcastle fan and a great lad. And the other candidates as well. To be fair, if they hadn't put themselves forward, there wouldn't have been an election. Wouldn't be having this conversation. There's people there with 1,100 votes who haven't been voted on the board, which this time last year, when the trust had a smaller membership, would have been enough to get them on. So they can feel very hard done by, and I think all of the candidates were fantastic. This is the kind of thing a supporter election isn't particularly sexy. So to get 5,500 people to turn out and vote, it's kind of mind blowing. The election process started about 3 months ago. So having to discuss it in board meetings how we're going to do it, they're not cheap. I think this cost us over £1,000 to run this election because we use the best technology that we can. But when you have such a big membership and you have so many people enthused and who engage in the process, it's what makes me proud. Isn't just the fantastic candidates who put themselves forward, and then the guys we've got joining us. It's the fact that everyone listening, I'm sure, feels this. Is that we, as football fans, we're supposed to be the ones who can't organise ourselves. We're supposed to be the group that are unruly, no one can control the fans.
Mad.
Yeah. And in fact, fans all over the country, and I think particularly the Newcastle United Supporters Trust, we're showing that's not the case. And we're able to shine a light on some of the things the club do wrong. They do some things right as well, but some of the big things that do wrong and have been getting wrong consistently that make big impacts in people's lives, not just football wise. if the trust continues to grow, if we grow our membership, if we continue to have elected officials like yourself, Charlotte, people with 3,000 votes, 58% is a fantastic mandate. You know, the trust can only get bigger and better, and that's good for all football fans. Now, I'm biased, but I decided to relaunch the trust with the help of other people from True Faith and other people involved with the trust at the time, back in the start of 2019. And I remember speaking to someone from Newcastle United and saying, you know, to be honest, we don't have a lot to go on here. We don't have any members. We don't have a bank account. We don't have a website. And we're sat here less than 2 years later with 5,500 people voting in an election. I don't know. It's
it's amazing.
Well done to everyone who's made that happen, like particularly the members, the people who thought, you know what, we're going to give this a go. We're going to get involved. And for 5,500 people to vote, it's just like, I can't, honestly, it's such a cliche. I can't get my head around those numbers. It's so many Newcastle fans to take time out of their day and engage with the process. I did a little video before, because we're going to try and do that more with the trust, do kind of instant reaction video stuff. You know, I would like to say fair play to the 40 members who voted for nobody, none of these candidates. Great vote, well done, lads. And it would have been lads. But you know, like, you know, I think the lowest candidate got 483 votes. That's still a lot of people. 483 people, you couldn't fit them in your front room unless you were Andy Carroll or someone like that. So the fact that so many people have come together for something like the Supporters Trust means a lot. Obviously, Charlotte, I'm delighted for you on a personal level. You know, we're close friends, and you, in my opinion, put forward a very convincing campaign, and you made the very good point that this fan base has a lot to offer, has offered you a lot, and that's something worth celebrating. And I feel that sometimes as a support, particularly on social media, but the wider sport as well, we lose track of that. Sometimes we lose track of the fact that actually we are pretty special as a football club and as a region, and the international fan base as well. So I've rambled on a bit here and answered your question, but it's a good day, I think, for football supporters in general.
Yeah, it's really good, and thank you very much for those kind words. I didn't know that I would enjoy the whole process as much as I did. What's happening, Alex?
Just gonna bollock me dog, Maggie.
All right. Okay.
Maggie, come. Chewing on a wire.
This is good. I hope it's not your laptop cable. Okay, so we've talked a bit about the election. Again, well, massive congratulations to everybody who put themselves forward. As Alex said, over 400 votes is no small feat, and I'm I'm happy it's done. I was very nervous today, but yes. Let's talk a bit about the trust then. The trust has launched #StartGivingBack campaign this week. That is, of course, for those of you who haven't seen it, seek it out. It's a great little video, basically summarizing what's been going on, which is that Newcastle United is the only club still charging direct debits for, still taking direct debits for season ticket payments. The only Premier League club that's still doing that. And now we're going to this pay-per-view situation, and people are already paying. It's very hard times, but people are already paying, you know, for this, and then it's $14.95 to watch a game. It's a lot of money. It's, you know, we're not supposed to mingle. We're not supposed to go to each other's houses. It just seems untenable, and it's unconscionable. So Alex and the board have been working on #StartGivingBack, which I believe is to do exactly what it says on the tin. It's time for Newcastle United to to start giving back, to at least acknowledge that they're doing this. There'd been no communication, if I understand correctly, from the club to the paying supporters that about why or when or how this will continue or not continue. Alex, do you want to talk a bit about that? I know that I just keep giving you cues and then saying talk about it, but I'll butt in with questions.
Yeah, and keen to hear your thoughts as well as a now fellow board member. I mean, first of all, before we get into that, you know, you just really quickly, how, you know, you obviously said at the start of the show you're delighted to be elected and stuff like that. What are the kind of things you hope to achieve, just in case there's anyone watching or listening when this goes out on True Faith paper and who isn't quite aware of why you stood on the board?
It's
like that.
Yeah, now I can just say like nothing. I'm just going to do no. I would like to build on what the trust is already doing. You know, I think that there is having a number like 14,000 is just incredible. But let's get it to 20. Let's have it 25. Let's keep increasing our numbers. And the reason for that is not so that we can say we've got 25,000 members, but you have a much stronger influence. You have much stronger mandate across the board with things like why are you charging for this, with gripes that you might have with the club, with taking issues to the club on behalf of fans. If you've got more fans as signed up members, then you've got much more clout with that. I think that's an incredible thing. And it doesn't have to be issues either. I would like to you have a dialogue with the club, albeit on their terms a little bit. I'd love to help grow that. I think that the club's communication isn't great at all with fan organizations or generally. So if I was able to impact that at all, that would be brilliant. And just to sort of, encourage this this organization to just, keep pushing the club into actually acknowledging their fans. That's my base level. But there's lots of stuff I'd like to achieve.
No, great points. And again, congratulations. I think you've done great. And I think in terms of what you asked about the campaign this week, you are right. Now I'm going to do live on YouTube. I'm going to get something out of my dog's mouth. And just to show people, because I don't want to die. She's got the bottom of the microphone thing here. My wife said to me, put her in a crate. I thought, no, she'll be fine. She'll just sleep. She has not. So,
this broadcast so far is like how my brain's been all afternoon, just all over the place.
It is the Charlotte Robson show, so Phil for me.
Phil for you, okay. Well, yeah, Alex said that he was keen to get my views there on what I think about the continued taking of direct debits. I don't think it'll come as a surprise to anybody listening or watching that I think that's terrible. This is one of the hardest times ever for most people, particularly a younger generation. People don't want to lose their season tickets. That would be terrible as well. When we're eventually allowed back into the club, you don't want to have been shut out and then there'd be a mad scramble. People are losing. Oh, there's a puppy. Let me get the viewers there.
Hello, Maggie. Behave.
Hey, Maggie. This is record unemployment that is likely to increase over the next year. These are times where people really don't. I mean, they're not getting a product for what they're paying for. Like that's just theft to me. You're not being given what you're paying for at all. And then to be asked on top of that to pay 15 quid to watch the games, every game. Well, who knows when we're going to be allowed back in stadiums? It seems like it's a hell of a long way off now. And that's going to rack up. So obviously not a surprise, but I think it's just mental. And I think it's mental as well that they haven't even acknowledged that they're doing that really, or said anything about it.
No, you're spot on. You've summarized it very well. And I think, when you made the initial point about it, the idea that we have to pay £14.95 for non-televised games is outrageous for fans across the country.
What would you think if it was like a £5?
I think that's reasonable. Now, I've been asked that a couple of times over the last few days by members of the press who've asked. And, first of all, I think there is a pandemic on. I think that the Premier League and the broadcasters who are blaming each other for this, they don't have to do it. They'd be all right. They'd survive if they didn't do this.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's kind of inhumane. I think it's so detached from the reality of what's going on in the world. It's probably another nail in the coffin in terms of hopefully the government who've come out this week saying there needs to be a fan-led review into football. It's for this exact reason. There needs to be a fan-led review into football. I think the cheapest ticket at St James's Park season on season in cup games is £10.
Yeah.
I think half of that, considering not actually going to a match, I think half of that would be reasonable. I think it's far more affordable for a lot of people. I think that £15 is the most they thought they could get away with charging. But from
£95, they haven't even called it.
I was gonna pay it, but now it's actually 95 pence has put me off. I'm joking. I'm paying it. I'm watching the match. But so at the trust we had a decision to make. Would we, we had to protest against both, but Newcastle fans are in a unique position. It's only Newcastle United fans who have paid for this game. It is only the 18,000 of us who are on long-term ticket deals, who are either paying direct debits or who are paying, have paid in full. And that's not right. And what frustrates me a little bit about this is, and I get it because, Arsenal's trust and Spurs' trust and those guys have been at the forefront of all of this, campaigning. It actually affects us more because we're not on telly as much. I think Liverpool were on TV in the 18-19 season 27 times. And we were on 19. We're probably not on as much as we were then under Rafa. So in fact, it's probably going to cost us £300 more as a kind of bottom half of the table club than teams in the top six. And what frustrates me a little bit is kind of how the public reaction has been kind of top six fan based. Mm-hmm. Probably because they have more fans, but this is something which affects us as Newcastle United fans more than anyone. And the fact that we did kind of, fag packet calculations, but we think pretty accurate calculations, that the club has £7 million, a figure that they dispute but can't give us the real number. We think
it's because it's more.
Yeah, we think it's more. We think 7 million is a conservative estimate. But if it was 5 million, if it was 3 million, if it was 2 million, that money should be in the pockets and the bank accounts of football supporters across the Northeast and the United Kingdom who are season ticket holders, not in the club's bank account, not in the club who've fantastically, and we're all delighted, managed to pay £21 million for Callum Wilson or 14 million for Jamal Lewis. Fantastic signings, but lads, the football club, you don't need the money. Real people do. And I don't doubt for a minute, just to be clear, I don't doubt that the club would have eventually provided refunds. I don't doubt that at all. What I do doubt is that the club were planning on sorting this out and less push, because once again, just like in the summer, the trust had to go to the Premier League and say, we aren't getting answers from the football club. Can you sort it? It was sorted within 24 hours. We don't want to have to do that. That isn't a reasonable way to run any business with, concerned customers. And something needs to give at Newcastle United. If Mike Ashley's here to stay, which I know a lot of people hope he isn't, I know he hopes he isn't, this cannot go on, and we have to do something as a fan base. And that's why the Trust this week will put together a short video campaign and a media campaign, which thankfully got us on ITV. It made The Guardian, it made The Telegraph, amongst others. And we were able to at least elicit some kind of response from the club, who said to the media that they will be making those refunds before Christmas. So it's already had a small impact. And I don't think if we'd done that, that would have happened. And that seems together.
I totally agree with you. And I think that's the power of the trust right there. If anybody, wonders what it does, it's not just that, but look at that. I mean, within 24 hours, the pressure on the club meant that there was some communication, there was some kind of answer. That more needs to be said, and about timelines and about how and when and things like that. But that's an absolutely incredible achievement. So well done to you guys.
We're not done yet because fans are still going to be charged for November's direct debits, and that's not right. We want two things: we want the money refunded, and we want payments to stop, because it doesn't make any sense. Even if I spoke to someone from Newcastle United this week, and they said one of the reasons that they haven't stopped is, although the public figure or date is March for when fans could be back in grounds. It's not planned. This is ridiculous.
There's for anybody listening to just the audio of this, Maggie the dog just jumped up.
Yeah, she's just young. In her defence, I'll only give her 7 lashes. No. But anyway, we need these payments stopped. It's absolutely ridiculous. There is no other Premier League fan in the country is currently being charged for tickets. That needs stopped. It's not morally right. The football club need to step up. But the wider point is, it shouldn't take normal fans to have to do something to get that response. And you know what, Charlotte, I appreciate that these are difficult times for the football club. I understand that they are going through a lot of stuff themselves, but so is who isn't.
Yeah.
Who is watching this or listening to this?
That doesn't offer you a get out for behaving properly. Like, it's a bad time for everybody, but it doesn't mean you can just rely on that as an excuse.
No, absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head.
I used that line recently because a friend of mine was treated unfairly at work, and I said, this whole situation is horrible, but it doesn't mean you've got to get out for treating people unfairly, and this is unfair. Same applies. Okay, well, let's move on slightly. Still on the subject of sort of football and the Premier League and all of that, but Alex in his notes said, we could talk about Project Big Six or whatever it's called. Oh, there's another dog. He's got two, by the way. That's Hector. This is not Project Big Six, it's Project Big Picture. And this is, of course, the leaked plan, the plan that was then kiboshed this week by the clubs of the Premier League. The sort of top six running the show, basically, in a sort of attempt, I think, to save lower leagues and things like that, or at least that's what they've told us is the reason for this project. There was this sort of proposed restructure of the Premier League, in which these sort of top six clubs have an absolutely ludicrous amount of power, obviously, including, by the way, the power to put a stop to any takeovers that they just didn't like the idea of, which may have played a part in what happened in the summer anyway. But I mean, to be so explicit is just astonishing to me. I'm really pleased it was shot down. But I know that, like, Jurgen Klopp, for example, has come out and said, well, I think it's come from the right place, and it's come from Alex. What was your initial reaction? I know that the group, our WhatsApp group, kind of went off as soon as the news broke about it.
Yeah, it only broke last Sunday, actually. It seems like far longer.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's been a year long.
Discussed, really. And, as we were reeling from the pay-per game stuff announced on Friday, the good news kept rolling with this being leaked to the Telegraph, probably intentionally. And there's much you could say. We could talk through the individual horrors of the plan, but I don't think there's time for that. I think it was an assault on English football tradition and culture, and I think a lot of people miss that. I think the idea of, for example, scrapping midweek domestic football, I find extremely offensive, and I mean that genuinely. I find that offensive as a fan who enjoys midweek football, who enjoys going to St James's Park and occasionally going away from home to watch football under the lights. For some guys in America who have no connection to this game or this country, really, to say, you know what, actually we're going to cut that out because we think that we could be away at, Atlanta in the Euro Super League that weekend, that weeknight. So you're gonna have cloudy domestic football through at weekends. Like, I find that reprehensible. I think that's changing the very structure and fabric of being a football fan. There are lots more issues, but I think it goes back to, and I've said this a few times, it goes back to the middle of the 2000s or the early 2000s when there was a lot of kind of angst about foreign ownership in English football. And let's be clear, we've got an English owner and he's dreadful. So just being an English owner or British doesn't make you good at being a football owner. Leicester City's owners are fantastic owners and, are based in Thailand. But there is definitely a case, and I think American owners were particularly the fear because of the way that their sports are so different. And so the idea of a sporting institution is so completely different in America for a lot of teams anyway, in a lot of places, than, for example, he's back, than than the UK. Yeah, here, I'll give you one. There you go, Hector. You're on camera now. Piss off. And this has come to fruition. It's been proved. You've got people who fundamentally want to change English football to make more money. And I think like Jurgen Klopp and Gary Neville and people like that who talk about, the good things in the deal and all of that stuff. Yeah, it's like saying, holidaying in France in the summer is lovely. Not if you're on your way to the Western Front, though. Like, you can't just look at the absolute top best things of the deal without scratching the surface. And
you also, you could have those nice things. There's nothing stopping anyone putting into place those nice things. It doesn't need to be packaged up in this incredibly egregious project. I don't know if egregious is the right word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's so much going on in the world right now. There's so much going on that it's hard to kind of concentrate on anything for more than 5 minutes, isn't it? And
I can't read anymore. I've stopped being able to read.
Yeah. And the fact that Rick Parry, who's an ex-CEO of Liverpool and is now chairman of the EFL, the fact that he was involved in this project before he became chairman of the EFL, like you're not a million miles away from corruption, but because so much happens, and we're back to the kind of, you know, never-ending Premier League juggernaut this weekend, it just kind of gets forgotten about. Greg Clark, the FA chairman, is involved in it. Was suggesting B teams. The key thing for me, Charlotte, takeaway, and I don't know if you agree or not, it's not even about Euro Super Leagues. It's not about bailouts. It's not about 18-team Premier Leagues. I find all of those things abhorrent and using the bailout to get those things. But once again, you know, football is a cultural institution in this country. There is a culture around football and football match attendance. Not everyone who likes football is involved in that culture or goes to matches, but it is here and it is real and it is important. And what you see is some very rich men deciding that even though they win all the games and they score all the goals, they sign all the players, they win all the trophies, they make all the money, that's not enough for them, and they're willing to destroy English football culture and heritage to make even more money. And these guys, they didn't build nothing. They didn't build Liverpool. They didn't build Manchester United. They stand on the shoulders of others, like lots of people who destroy institutions. They stand on the shoulders of others who created the facilities for their massive success, and they think, how can we make this better for us? Not how can we make it better for fans in the future? Not how can we make it better even for our football clubs or our fans? How can we make it better for us? And for them to use the success of someone like Bill Shankly and Sir Alex Ferguson and Matt Busby and Bob Paisley and Kenny Dalglish, for them to use their achievements to try and destroy English football. I would call it destroying English football. I would have serious issues continuing to support English football if it was controlled by 6 teams at the top.
Yeah.
You know,
so many people I spoke to, sorry to butt in, said the same. They were like, I think I'm done with it if this happens. I don't think I can.
Yeah, so, agreed.
Yeah, I butt in and ruined your rant. I apologise. I don't disagree with you at all. I think it sort of is works with the thread of what we're talking about here, which is the importance of fan organisations. When you look at stuff like that, that is an absolutely horrible proposition for fans of football. And so banding together and being a group and having a voice is really important. And, you know, not just our trust, but the trust of other clubs as well. I just think, if anything, shows you how important it is, something like that happening or threatening to happen is it. Should we talk a bit about football? Kind of.
Yeah.
We talk happy news.
Let's
talk happy news. ASM is here to stay. That's the happy news. He's here till 2026. He signed a 6-year extension on better terms, I think. A lot more money, brings him up to the highest earners in the club. He posted some really. There's a guy who gets the fans. He knows what the fans want, and he knows how important they are. Posted some videos, albeit through the club's social media and through his own social media, obviously vetted, but I mean, I just think he's brilliant, and he's like, this is my home now, and all of these like box ticking, like, yes, I love this guy. Are you happy with that? Do you think that's a good bit of business, Alex?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's very un-Newcastle United, isn't it? It's very not us. Yeah, I mentioned this in the summer actually in a few of the podcasts that we did, Charlotte, and I think I mentioned to Luke Edwards as well on one of the shows we did with him that securing St Maximin on improved terms was one of the most important things we could do. It was clear he came in for 16 to 20 million pounds, but he was, you know, I think he was either 21 or just turned 22 when he signed. You know, he clearly wasn't going to be on the mega wages that maybe, or for us mega wages, like Jamal Lascelles and John Joe Shelby are on. And maybe Callum Wilson now as well, but I think he's really earned it. And if you're fans of a certain age, you'll remember kind of 10 years ago-ish players like Demba Ba, Yohan Cabaye, maybe even Matthew Debuchy coming in and having like unbelievable first seasons for Newcastle United, and they came in on cheap transfer fees, if any transfer fee at all, and they weren't rewarded for that. And then it becomes very easy to be convinced by agents or whoever to move to another club because it's the only way to get paid properly. And so Maximin, it's only a year extension, but the fact that he is happy, he's motivated, the fact that he has committed, again, he signed 2 contracts with the club now. He's got, as Steve Bruce said today, his best years are in front of him. We need to make sure they're at Newcastle United. He is crucial for this team. He's as important as Callum Wilson. I think the 2 of them in the team, we can win any game. And, it's exciting to Newcastle fan. There's not loads of good news, but fair play to the club here. They got this one right.
Yeah, agreed. Do you want to explain slightly to me why everybody said 2026, but it's the 1-year extension? It's because he was already signed on.
Yeah, so we signed a 5 year deal, 2019 to 2025.
I keep getting confused by it because I'm like, no, it's 2026. Now I understand, and that's fine. I didn't think I had it wrong.
What a weight off your shoulders that must be.
Yeah, I'll sleep finally tonight. It's been a sleepless week for me. I'm just going to run to the comments here because a couple of people are watching and people are commenting. Keith B says, just to track back slightly to the project Big Picture, he says, it was telling that the 2 clubs driving the Big Picture plan are both American owned. Had it been accepted, I think it would have set us on the road to the US franchise sports model.
No, I totally agree, Keith. And that is the fear, isn't it? That is the fear that these guys want to Americanize. And by the way, there are good things about American sports in terms of drafts and the worst teams getting the best players and salary caps, all those kind of things. But it was very clear that they, Charlotte, you touched on it earlier, the prevention of, another football club being able to say who's a suitable owner or not. And the kind of prevention of new investments, quite scary, really. And this is the problem. And we always, I don't want to get too political, but this is the issue with the restrictions in the Northeast, and what a lot of people feared a few weeks ago is that when the Northeast local authorities went to the government to ask for further lockdown measures, a lot of people, including myself, thought, what if this doesn't work? What will they do to us after it? Now you have Northeast authority leaders trying to argue the case that we don't need further measures. It's the same with these guys. So say we gave in, say the EFL got its £250 million bailout, say there was more equal distribution of TV revenue, and say that happened and we accepted 18 teams and only weekend football and no League Cup. Say we accepted that. There is, even if you're in favour of all that, what comes next? This is what they thought they could get away with. What can they do? What if they want the Premier League to be 12 teams like the SPL? What if they want to abolish the Premier League and make it the top 6 in the Euro Super League, which no one can get in or out of ever? What if they want to abolish the FA Cup? What if they only want to play football on May the 17th every year? There is nothing to stop them doing that. And that's the scary thing, that this shit show that they presented is like their good version. Imagine what you think. Imagine
the first draft of this. Like what project Big Picture was.
2017, wasn't
it? Adam Beckett is watching. Adam also elected to the board today. Congratulations to you. What?
Said congrats, Adam.
Congrats, Adam. Ironically, a lot of American sports fans would rather have our promotion and relegation system. Adam is, of course, based in Minnesota, so he has a little bit of insight over there. That's interesting. I had not considered envy over the pond.
I've heard of that before, and it is ironic because these guys clearly don't like relegation. They don't like the prospect of it, and ultimately, they, there's nothing to stop them in the future getting rid of relegation. Like we've just said, that's the scary thing. Like the relegation run-in in the Championship playoffs are like 2 of the most exciting things of the season. Yet they want to try and neutralise those.
Yeah. Well, they failed this time. I don't doubt that there'll be more Project Big Pictures and things like this cropping up over the next few years. Everybody's driven by money. It's just, we'll have to contend with more than just this, I think. Let's move on to team news. Today, I'm wearing my Martin Dubravka pin. But we had bad news about my little guy. He's out till December. I don't know if everybody saw this, but he's definitely out until December. Alex Cardono's been doing great. We've talked him up on the podcast. We've been very impressed with his performances. Some really, really strong performances from him. Does this extended out period for Dubravka worry you as much as I know when he first got injured, I was extremely worried because I didn't think Carl Darlow was up to the task of playing every week and doing as well as he has done. I've been totally proven wrong, and I'm delighted to have been proven wrong. Are you as worried given that, or you know, how do you feel?
No, still worried. It's still really bad news. It's not as bad news because of Darlow's form, like you say. Two things kind of spring out to me. Number one, you know, you're only now one injury or red card away from disaster. So if Darlow was to get injured or suspended, we're going to end up with another Jack Annick situation like we did in 2014, which was a disaster and cost a derby and a League Cup quarter-final potentially. And there's also the fact that as well as Darlow has done, and he's done really, really well, he's just not as good as Martin Dubravka, and that's no disrespect to Carl Darlow. I didn't worry about him. I was a big fan of his in the Championship. I thought he was unfairly kind of cast aside by some Newcastle fans, but fair enough because he had made a couple of mistakes, but he is not as good as Martin Dubravka, that's a fact.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm probably less worried, but I would rather Dubravka was back. I think his ability to snatch balls out of the air and hold on to them is unparalleled in our team, and he consistently makes, like, you know the match of the day commentators, teams of the week. Like it's very rare. ASM gets in there now, like when Shearer does them, but it's very rare that we'd have a player in there, and it would almost always be Dubravka or ASM. So. Yeah, I want him back. I would like to, you know, it's a blow. It's a blow as well for the return, because now I think it'll be longer. He's got till December, and then coming back in, will he be at full fitness? Like how long? Like, I don't know. I worry about it. But we've got a game coming up this weekend. This international break has felt so long to me. Has it felt long to you?
Yeah, I think it's the fact that they've squeezed an extra round of international games in, and apart from pre-season, you know, ever since football came back, Project Restart, they love a project, don't they, in the Premier League?
I'm sick of them. I'm sick of projects. There's Project Restart, and there's Project Big Picture, and there's probably loads of little secret projects, and the government has loads of little stupid project names as well for their stupid systems. I'm sick of them. Project
Don't Let Newcastle Get Taken Over. That was the worst project.
Yeah, and it had a shit name as well. It wasn't catchy at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even they had, like, our potential buyers. That weren't we Project Zebra?
What?
Weren't we like Project Zebra or something? I say
take over.
I'm sure that it was. I'm sure.
Trust demands number one of any new owners. No shit project names.
No more projects. Yeah, but football's back. We're playing Man U, and you can watch it at home for the tiny price of $14.95 in the comfort of your own home with no friends there, because you're not allowed to see them. Unless
you live outside of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, you watch it for much, much less, because that also makes complete sense.
Oh yeah, totally.
Not
yeah,
that I begrudge the foreign fans or fans who live abroad watching it. I don't want them to pay any more. I hope they pay less. but it's getting silly now, isn't it? That, you know, our league, our team, you know, I can see the stadium from Killingworth on a clear day while they're playing, but I've got to go back to my house and pay $14.95 to watch it. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Maybe we should get some drones and hover them over the ground. That's definitely illegal, isn't it? I saw that's how people were getting drugs into Wandsworth prison for a while. They were droning drugs. They were standing on Wandsworth Common and droning them in.
Did the guards not think, why is there loads of drones? Did they think they just wanted to watch the prisoners bathe? Or what?
Bathe, did you say?
Yeah, sunbathe, I meant.
Oh, right. I was going to say, I don't think they keep their baths in the yard, but okay. This has gone off piste. How are you feeling about Manchester? We won't do a full preview. We do those for our patrons. If you're interested in joining us on Patreon, please do give us a whirl. You'll find the information through our Twitter, which is at TF NUFC, and on true-faith.co.uk as well. we have a pro view up this week with Keith Gillespie. He's giving us his thoughts on the Man U clash because, of course, he played for us both, and Man U was his boyhood team, kind of. And what was that, Alex?
I said Auntie played for them, but you'd already said that. It went through my mind too late to stop. No.
Well, what's interesting is that I think because I was speaking, your microphone didn't pick you up, but I've made you repeat it now, so that's good. Anyway, yes, if you are interested, please do join us over there. It's about £7 a month, and you get 3 to 4 extra podcasts a week, including all of that stuff. And the audio for this, why wouldn't you want the audio for this? Alex, how are you feeling about Man U? And we'll just do a light little few thoughts about it, and then we'll let everybody go to their nights and have a nice time.
Very, very beatable Manchester United side. Maybe we'll not have a good chance, as good a chance to beat them as this. I know we beat them last season, but it was kind of classic have one shot on target type thing, even though I think we had a good game that day. I really hope he doesn't play 5 at the back. Anyone who listens to us regularly on the True Faith podcast will know all of that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. 8 o'clock, might have some drinks.
Oh, that's nice.
And yeah, I'm excited, Charlotte. I think we can beat them, and I think Bruce will take the chance to play a more attacking game. I still think we'll see possession, but if we pack the middle of the park and force them out wide, we can do a number on them. What do you think, Charlotte?
Yeah, I agree, and I think this is a Man U that are struggling with their identity at the moment as well, and there's some confidence problems there. I do think it's a winnable game. You forget though, Alex, 5 at the back, that is how this team is conditioned to play. That's
don't know any other way.
Really hard to unpick that.
Apart from when they do play the other way.
They can't. They simply can't. It's a shame that we sort of entered this international break. I was thinking this earlier with on such a high, because it would have been nice to continue that momentum, but it feels like that's been slightly lost, and we have lost a couple of players overseas playing for their respective countries. Notably Almiron, although there doesn't seem to be too much space for him in the side that Steve Bruce is setting up at the moment. So perhaps that, won't make a huge difference. Yeah, I feel quite positive. I'm quite excited. I'm glad that football's back. I mean, it's weird and it's a bit shit in these empty stadiums just on the telly, but also when it's not on, I really miss it. So I'll take it. Let's have a quick prediction before we move. Oh, also, I was going to ask you before we go to predictions. Do you think this is a Longstaff game?
No.
But it's Man U. Everybody gets very excited about that.
Matty Longstaff's not played any football at all since like December last year, and he won't play Sean Longstaff out of John Joe Shelby. So
what would you do if you saw Matty Longstaff? Sorry, it's just a frog in my throat. Not the virus. What would you do if you saw Matty Longstaff on the team sheet at 7 o'clock tomorrow night?
I'd probably do what I did last season when he picked him for this same fixture, and I think I was in Hamburg at the time, and text all of you guys saying like desperation, because we hadn't won a game. Desperate, but he got it right. I was wrong. It wasn't desperate. It was a really astute tactical ploy. Funnily, he almost didn't pick him again after that game, but never mind that. Yeah, I'd be surprised, but also Bruce has probably earned that wild card, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's true. I don't think it'll happen either. But I know people on Twitter are like, "Ooh, maybe he'll come back." And then what prediction do you have for me?
1-0 United.
Oh wow, big game, big scoring game. I'm gonna go 2-1.
2-1 Newcastle. So we're both going for Newcastle wins. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, but Norman made the very good point in our group chat the other day that he thinks that Solskjaer might moved on or be close to moving on if we beat them on Saturday. Did you agree with that?
Don't know enough about Manchester United, but I don't think so. I'll disagree with them there. I think to sack him immediately after an international break, that's the kind of mad stuff Newcastle would do. After letting them work with the players for 2 weeks. Here's me talking again, Hector. He's so
Hector. Hector wants you back.
Yeah.
I don't know enough either. That's why I asked you, hoping you would give me some really good insight, but nothing, not a thing from you. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up there, I think. Thank you so much for giving up 45 minutes of your time on a Friday night. That's so kind of you. Thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you for your comments. There's lots of comments that I haven't posted on this, which are being very kind about the election. Thank you. I have seen them. I'm very grateful. And yeah, everybody enjoy the match tomorrow night. We'll be back with another one of these Charlotte Robson shows. Probably next week. Let's be real. What else am I going to do with my time? Thanks so much for tuning in and or listening on Patreon. Take care.